of St. Martin, good evening. My apologies for the late start, but here I am again to update you on the latest developments related to St. Martin's response to the COVID-19 containment mitigation and response as a result of the measures being taken. I would like to update you on our cases for today. As of today, April 14, 2020, I can update you on the COVID-19 cases as followed for St. Martin. In self-quarantine, we have now 90 persons. In self-isolation, 161. The decrease is due to the persons coming out of the isolation period, 7 days since symptoms onset, and 3 days no fever, and 24 hours no signs and symptoms. A majority of these persons were family members of cases and also in isolation beyond this defined period and recovered. So that says that our number of self-isolation cases are down to 161 as a result of persons coming out of their isolation period, and self-quarantine down to 90. The total number of persons tested is now at 161. The number positive is 53, of which 4 are hospitalized at St. Martin Medical Center. 1 remains in critical condition on a ventilator. The other 3 are in stable condition. Of the 53, 35 are males and 18 are females. The number of persons testing negative from the 161 is 92. The number pending results are 15, and 1 remains inconclusive. The numbers of deceased remains at number 9, for which we are very grateful, and the number recovered is at number 5. In our measures taken today to have more supermarkets open in the districts, it has been reported back to me by ESF 7 and 10 that many people were able to make use of this opportunity at the local and smaller Chinese supermarkets within each district, and hopefully we can say today that the majority of persons have been able to reach to get their or been delivered their materials. In our discussions with the banks today as well, banks have agreed to open to allow for persons to cash their checks, and I will hereby give the schedule as per the following banks. So persons who have checks and need to be cashed so that they can get their purchases done can do so at the Windward Islands Bank as of tomorrow from 9 to 3:30, at the Orco Bank from 8:30 to 12, also at the BCEM Bank from 8:30 to 12, and at the Republic Bank and FCIB from 8:30 to 1. So let me repeat, all persons in possession of checks will be able to do so as was done previous to the lockdown, normally utilizing the same social distancing rules and regulations, and definitely no crowding allowed. As mentioned before, protect yourself. Remain at home if you have no urgent matters, but if you must cash a check, you can do so tomorrow at the Windward Island Bank, Phillipsburg branch from 9 to 3:30 p.m., at the Orco Bank and the BCEM Bank from 8:30 to 12, and at the Republic Bank and the FCIB from 8:30 to 1 p.m. These numbers, these times will be published as well so that those that are unable to follow this broadcast will be able to see it in print. In today's meeting of the Council of Ministers, as well as the meeting of the strategic ESFs, discussions were had on the de-escalation of the lockdown to be able to allow for supermarkets, especially supermarkets, to be open. The decision that is sent to the EOC for decision making is that we will be allowing the movement for essential services, including supermarkets and banks, for 3 days per week in 2 zones. This is being proposed and the specifics will be explained. However, in the interim, so we are expecting this movement to start as of next week. But in the coming week, Thursday and Friday, we expect that supermarkets and banks will be open for the public to be able to shop of course, with the proper social distancing, as well as in banks, to do necessities only that are urgent, of course, and it is recommended that we limit our movements as much as possible for all other reasons, including supermarkets, to our own communities and districts, unless it cannot be avoided. 2 zones will be designated as East and West, and the Coal Bay Hill being the designated center spot. So controls as to who is going over the hill and who is coming over the hill will be done by our police department. These are being proposed, and tomorrow we will be able to establish that based on the necessary changes in the ministerial regulation, this will then be given and published for all to see. So I'm just letting the public know that the decisions are being moved forward and escalated so that the general public can be eased, especially as it relates to being able to stock or put food in their houses and to ensure that everyone can eat. What I can also say is that from ESF 7, they finalized the deliveries of the 1,500 boxes today without any hiccups, and that unfortunately, the delivery of the newly to be packaged boxes was not to be had today. So I will be updating as to when the service will be continuing from ESF 7. Also, as I mentioned earlier, thanks to the opening of the supermarkets in the districts, many persons were able to receive deliveries as well as receive food in the interim. Within the relaxing of some of the regulations to enable services, persons with appointments, medical appointments, etc., will be still allowed to have these regardless of the day. Of course, proof of appointments must be shown and no waivers will be necessary. So as a result of the decision that was taken to the EOC, the general public will be able to make use of services, essential services at banks and supermarkets, as well as gas stations, as soon as that is finalized in a ministerial regulation. We expect that this will go into effect as of Thursday, and therefore on Thursday and Friday this will be allowed. The national decree will also have to be adjusted for the proposed decision, which will be then enacted as of Sunday, moving into another 2 weeks, whereby 3 days in the week, the general public will be allowed to make use of banks, supermarkets, and gas stations. Again, the general public is admonished or advised to ensure that you remain at home as much as possible and only move if it is truly essential, urgent, need for your household to be able to survive. Therefore, all unnecessary movement is still highly unacceptable. The waivers, which has been creating quite a stir within the population, including with our French counterparts, will be minimized as much as possible. As such, noting that there are changes coming, we ask that the general public hold off on requesting excessive waivers for movement, as I have already announced that some relaxing of the measures will take place in the coming days. The reason why this was not instituted earlier, as I have been saying over the past week, is to allow CPS to be able to go into the community to do what is necessary. CPS was also, and under ESF 6, was also able to update that they did go into the designated community today and speak to over 85 persons within the community, and were able to determine that not quite a lot, but some did have some symptoms. Testing did take place today, as you can see from the number that is still pending results. Not a lot of persons did come forth to be tested, but I am asking the general public, if you are having signs and symptoms similar to the flu or the COVID-19 virus, please call 914 in order to be registered within our system. That is what this lockdown has been about, for us to be able to assess the real numbers of confirmed cases within St. Martin so that we can stop the spread and therefore get back to normal faster. The first 2 weeks in some type of confinement, the lockdown, would be for nothing if we are not able to contain the virus with the known persons. So within the next few days, we are having CPS continue to do the community outreach program, going to the various districts and assessing house to house if persons are indeed having signs and symptoms and did not report this. We are not infringing upon your right to privacy. We are solely trying to ensure that if you have signs and symptoms, that you are properly isolating yourself so as not to infect others within the population, especially those with other morbidities, other underlying medical conditions, such as diabetes, hypertension, and other cases that can lead to serious conditions under the COVID-19. Many believe that they are young and strong and can handle the virus and therefore will be moving around. But if you have anyone within your circle that is someone that is either frail, having other health issues, you are therefore also bringing them in danger. So show your love for your family members and for your community by remaining indoors as much as possible, and if you must venture outside, to do so safely, following the recommendations as has been promoted by the government of St. Martin as well as the WHO. The government of St. Martin has also put out a video and would recommend that all look at the video from the WHO, which talks about proper mask usage. More and more persons are using masks, but the improper use of masks can also cause the virus to spread. All those persons who are now moving around and allowed to be on the roads are advised to continue to protect yourself, especially those frontliners in all areas of our society. And I thank you again for all that you have been doing. Based on some questions that have been coming in from the public, I would like to answer a few at this moment. When will we be able to do mass testing in St. Martin? As I mentioned earlier, ESF 6 has been going out into the communities as of today and will continue to do so. And that is why in our proposal, there are some days when there was no movement recommended so that CPS can then be able to visit people in their homes as well as all those isolated already to ensure that the testing can take place. As I've said before, more test kits are on the island and more have been ordered. And so we do not see that we will run out of test kits for the foreseeable future, and therefore are able to then serve the community better and get better statistics as to what our real numbers are. Will the most vulnerable, such as disabled persons, senior citizens, pregnant women, be allowed to receive preferential treatment at supermarkets and banks? What I can say for sure is based on our discussions today and the proposal to the EOC for decision making, definitely senior citizens will receive preferential treatment at the banks. So any of the persons needing to cash checks tomorrow, and once we do reopen for the general public, you know already that senior citizens will most definitely have preference, either as the first ones to be served from 8 to 9, but even if they arrive later in the day and they will not be held in a line, they will receive preferential treatment. Based on this question, I will also be recommending that, of course, disabled persons and pregnant women be offered this same treatment. And thank you for that question. Will electronic stores be allowed to open or deliver so that persons may purchase goods for learning and remote working purposes? This is something that was heavily discussed today and was actually proposed as one of the places that we would allow to be opened. However, a majority did not think that at this moment that was necessary. We will be looking into allowing for delivery purposes, and that will be announced in the near future. Right now, we must remember that it is really a health pandemic that we are facing, that we expect the general public to understand that as such, Only essential and urgent matters need to be attended to. And yes, while many of us are working from at home and students are learning from at home and we are relying heavily on the technology, if it is an urgent requirement, of course, all of the essential services will be able to make use of this service, and we will determine if it is necessary on the public level if as we move forward and de-escalate further. However, as far as the general public is concerned, I ask you to stay tuned tomorrow when that ministerial regulation will be published so that all can see in writing exactly what will be allowed, and the explanations will be very, very clear. Continue to follow our government radio station 107.9 for official information, statements, and news updates, or visit the government website at www.stmartingov.org/coronavirus and our Facebook page, Government of St. Martin. As I said yesterday, you can also see the dashboard on the page, and you can see one time all of the data related to who has been, the numbers, not who has the number of persons tested, positive, negative, etc. I would like to thank, in closing, all the essential workers who are working tirelessly, including ESFs 1 through 10, for all that you are doing on a daily basis for more than 1 month. We are now on the 14th of April, and we have been at this since early February. Especially, I have said my thank yous over the past few days, and I would not want to neglect ESF 6 as well as the CPS workers who have been a very small but tireless group who have been in the community and on the front line since early February. Thank you very much. All healthcare workers who are working diligently, as well as the ambulance department, thank you for your tireless efforts, and I must commend the police department, who are also frontliners, that gave them their kudos in a nice ceremony yesterday. I must commend each and every one of you and say thank you from the bottom of the hearts of all St. Martin residents. I'm not going to list you because I might forget someone again, but all frontliners, including those who are picking up garbage, those who are cleaning all the facilities. As you know, hygiene now has its highest possible rank. I must say the Council of Ministers is tirelessly at work, also ensuring that our preparation for after this virus has died down is right up at the top of a priority in terms of recovery for St. Martin, and I look forward to them bringing to you all the wonderful plans as it relates to that. Each and every person has been contributing to the decision-making that is going on at this moment. We are taking suggestions via social media. We are taking suggestions coming in via WhatsApp. We have also taken suggestions from members of Parliament and the Council of Ministers along, and the Council of Ministers are involved in the ESF discussions related to their ministries. I would like to also give a special thank you to all those businesses, and especially the supermarkets and banks who have been going along with the decision-making and assisting government in being able to execute all the services that are needed to keep our population going, especially as it relates to food. I would like to thank all those volunteers who have assisted ESF 7 in getting food to all those persons over the past few days, and who will be again working tirelessly to package 1,500 more boxes to continue to reach those who have not yet been served. With those persons with checks left uncashed due to the shutdown able to do so tomorrow, I hope that you too will be able to put in your orders or get your groceries on Thursday once you are able to visit the grocery stores. I would like to urge each and everyone who is part of this struggle to remember to pray, to assist wherever you can all those in need. Pray that no man, no woman, no child goes hungry tonight. Pray that each and every person that is within the sound of our voices can be helped with the assistance that is urgently needed. Those of us who have, share. Nothing is more cheerful than having something that you treasure and that you can share it with another. The joy of giving is inconceivable, cannot be compared to anything else. And you will see that your larder, your cupboards will never go bare. Show the people of the world that St. Martin is strong, is united, and a powerful people and country, and that we will most definitely overcome this challenge. We are St. Martin strong. Continue to say it, believe it, and we will most definitely achieve it. Say it as if it is so. Coronavirus is dead on St. Martin. It is dead and it will be gone before we have given ourselves a chance to even feel the misery of this lockdown. The lockdown is necessary. The shutdown of non-essential services is necessary. But in no way was this lockdown intended to hurt. Of course, I know some decisions cannot please everyone, but I would like some patience. I urge you to pray. I urge you to be vigilant as we continue to take decisions in this fluid pandemic to give you the best possible options so that we can curb the growth or the increase in the numbers of COVID-19 positive cases. And even if we have to have more positive cases, we want it that there will be no more death. Let us all pray that there is no more loss of life in the fight against COVID-19 on St. Martin, and that we can contain it. We can educate those who are still thinking it is okay to gather in a church. It is okay to sit down in groups outside in your yard. It is okay to mingle without protection, without the proper washing, and not expect that this will have negative repercussions for the country. I am asking you, I am pleading with you, people of St. Martin, do your very best to stay at home. The life you save may be your very own and may be the very ones of the persons you love. St. Martin is strong, we are determined, and I am entitled to say that we will survive. We will thrive, and we will be number one again. I thank you for your attention this evening, and I look forward to seeing you once again tomorrow with the Council of Ministers in our Council of Ministers press briefing. God bless the people of St. Martin and her people as we work together, government, community, and each and every St. Martin citizen to keep her safe.